Hey, Brian here with the Holy Roller playing Craps on a Cruise to earn a free cruise, and this video is brought to you by our channel members, so thank you to all of our channel members. And also, have you considered becoming a channel member? Oh, we'll talk about that later, but in this video, we're gonna talk about Bankroll. Are you ready? Here we go, Bankroll!
Welcome to the Holy Roller, where it's all about playing craps and winning free cruises. I'm gonna show you what it's all about, so let's get rolling.
All right, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining in, and again, thank you for the members for sponsoring this video, and consider becoming a member. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end, but we're talking about bankroll and coming up with a bankroll, and in order for that to happen, you're going to want to know, first thing is, what's the minimum of the table? And so usually there'll be a dealer standing right about here. Over here, there'll be a pit boss, maybe somebody sitting down, and then of course the other side of the table is the same as this side. So there'll be a dealer there, but right around here, above the box numbers here, right around there, there'll be a plaque or some type of sign. They'll say what the minimum is. And it's either gonna say $5, $10, $15, $25, or even more. But ideally, you're going to want to get on the lowest minimum possible where you're playing. So if you can get on a 5, that's great. But most tables are probably going to be between 10 and 15. Now, on cruises with Royal Caribbean, and that's where we play Craps on a Cruise to earn a free cruise, normally they're either $5 or $10 minimums. So we're going to assume this one's a $10 minimum. We'll go on the higher side. So $10 minimum. And the first thing you're going to want to know is, what is the minimum, okay? Second thing you're going to want to know is, how much money do you want to bet per shooter or per roller? And that will determine your strategy. So let's say we have a $10 minimum, and I'm just going to grab $100 here as an example. I would recommend never playing with less than $100 if you're going up to a craps table. I mean, even $100 is probably low. I've seen people come up with just $20. I've seen somebody come up with, like, believe it or not, I think like $71, like just in $1 bills. It was ridiculous. But I would say at least 100. On a $5 table, 100 would go a lot farther than a $10 table. For example, if you had $10 table, that's 10 different bets at $100. So you figure, I have $100, I have $10 bets, I have 10 different bets I can do for $100. Well, if it's a $5 table, of course, you'll have 20 different bets. But ideally, what you want to do is you want to determine not only the minimum of the table, but you're going to want to determine, okay, what strategy or how much money am I going to bet per shooter or per roller? So let's say you wanted to go, and let me get some change for this here. So here is, let me just get 5. All right, so here's $100. There's 5 and 1s. And let's say you wanted to do the high probability numbers of 6 and 8. Whenever you're on a cruise with Royal Caribbean, you're not going to be able to do improper bets. So the minimum on a table, if it's a $10 minimum, the minimum on 6 and 8 is going to be $12. You won't be able to bet $10, even though it's a $10 minimum. On these numbers, you'll be able to bet $10, but on the 6 and 8, you're going to have to bet a minimum of 12. So let's say we wanted to do minimum of the 6 and 8, and that's $24, or let's say $25, just to kind of round it by a multiple of 5. What you're going to see is, if you do this, $25 on each person that rolls the dice, including yourself. Now, if it is a $10 minimum, when you roll, you're going to have to play on the pass line or the don't pass. Now, this right here, sometimes you could count it in, sometimes you don't have to count it in, because you don't necessarily have to roll. But I would always recommend, if you're not rolling, I wouldn't bet, definitely don't bet on the pass line if you're not rolling, because this just pays even money. And if the point becomes 5, for example, and you have even money here, You can win $10 if they roll a 5 and win or pass. And of course there's odds, but just a flat bet here, if you placed it on the 5, it would pay 14 there, only 10 here. So even if you had $10 on the pass and $10 in odds, that would be a total of $20. You would, if you put $20 on the 5, you'll win more than if you had $20, 10 on the pass and 10 here. And many people would say, well, I wouldn't only do single odds, I would add more. I would add double odds or maybe even triple odds. I'd add, and I'd make a lot more money than if I put it right here. Well, you're always going to make more money placing the number than having a pass line with odds, unless you go over 5 times odds. And the other thing about the odds, when it comes to playing craps on a cruise or playing for comps in any casino, this money back here in odds, they don't count that as value. So, meaning they don't count that as a bet on the table. So you can have $30 back here, and you say, I have 10 here and 30 here for a total of, and not even counting that, but if you had this bet, a total of $40, you're only getting rated for a $10 bet. And so the comps don't make sense. So for me, I would always, instead of placing money here, if I'm not shooting, whatever money I would place here, I would actually just place on the number. And in some casinos, whenever you walk up, they don't want you necessarily to place it on the number. So what they do is they have you place it on the line, like in the middle of the line. So it's not a pass, it's not odds, it's like on the line. And when it's on the line like this, that is just like if you place the number. But on Royal Caribbean, on the cruise, playing craps on a cruise to earn a free cruise, they don't allow this bet. So you can't bet on the line here. They want you to put it here and here, like traditionally like this. But you don't have to. Once you place this, it's locked. You cannot pick it up. This you can add, take away anytime, but that one is it's called a contract bet, so you can't pick it up. Even if you walk up and the point's already established, the worst bet you can do is to play the pass line when the puck's on. So I would always recommend, if you walk up and the point is 5, if you have $10, put it on the 5. Don't put it on the pass line. And then if you were going to do 10 and 10 in odds, put 20 on the 5 or on the point, and it will be more pay than it was back here anyway. So with all that being said, what is your minimum bet? Getting back to the point of this video, right? What is the minimum bet? Here, if it's $25, you want to have at least enough for 10 shooters. So let's forget the pass line. Even if we are the shooter, let's not count that $10 that we'd have to play on one of these. So what we would have to do with 25, let's say 25, just for easy math, 25 times 10 shooters is $250. So here we would have, let's see, this right here. Let's see how much this is. This is 200, and I guess that would be, let's just put it in here. Let's just see. This would be 200. Let's do it like this. That's 200. That's 200, and here's $50. And so let's take this away. All right. So if we're going to do $25 per shooter, we're going to need $250 for our bankroll to play for 10 rounds or 10 hands, 10 shooters, including ourselves. You would say, well, I need an extra $10 if I'm going to be one of those 10. Well, chances are you might be 2 of the 10 or 3 of the 10. It depends on how many people are rolling, because it might come to you more often. Now, you don't have to roll. If it comes time for you to roll and you don't have money in your budget to be a pass line or a don't pass, then just pass the dice. You could just pass the dice. You don't have to roll. Okay, so with all that being said, if we're going to do $25 or the minimum of 6 and 8 on a $10 table, that would be around $24. So we would need $250 just for our bankroll. Now, if you don't have $250, let's say you only have $150. Now, this is how you want to think about it when you walk up to the table. So let's say you only have 150. So there's 100, here's 20, 30, 40, 50. All right. So all I have is $150 to play at the table. Now I only have $15 per shooter or per hand that I'm going to be playing. So maybe I'm just doing a one of the 6 or the 8, and I'm going to say just pick the 8 for $12. Then I have an extra $3 that maybe I can play like some hard ways or something. I don't know. But that would be my minimum per shooter. Now, one thing that's very interesting on a craps table, these are called the prop bets here, and this is called the field. These down here are one roll bets. These are one roll bets. The hard ways, they are like a hard 10, for example. That will stay there until an easy 10 rolls. Like say if it's a 6-4. If a 6-4 rolls, it's a 10, but this is a hard 10. This bet loses. The other thing that would make this bet lose is the 5-2 or a 7, any 7 really. A 6-1 would also make it lose. So a 7 or easy way would make a hard way bet lose. Okay. Now these other ones here, prop bets. Sometimes you'll see horn right here. If it says horn, or these field bets are just a one roll bet, meaning the next roll of the dice. Now, something that's very interesting on a cruise, a lot of times the minimum in the field, well, let's talk about a casino first. Any casino, when you see $10 minimum, it's going to be a $10 minimum in the field. But on a Royal Caribbean cruise, when you're playing craps on a cruise to earn a free cruise, the minimum here is $1, just like in most casinos, $1 minimum on all these bets. But the field is a minimum of $1 as well. Now, if you don't have a bet out here, like you're not meeting the table minimum of $10, you would have to have a bet of $10 on the table. And if you don't, like say you do a hard 10 for $5, you would still need $5 more on the table somewhere. And on a cruise, you can have $5 in the field if it's like this. Now, if you have $12 here and you're betting $12 on the 8, you've met the $10 minimum. Now, the field bet becomes a $1 minimum. Now, it seems strange to just bet $1 in the field. I mean, it looks like it has a lot of numbers, but it doesn't have a lot of combinations of the dice. But, you know, you could put your other 3 in here. So if you do that and the next roll, let's see what this one is. The next roll's an 8. So you would, this is off, so this bet's off, but this bet is always working, and it's an 8, so this would have automatically lost. So, but the point would become 8 because the puck was off. So now that's how that would work. And so now we would need an 8 to hit just to win our $3 back. But we would win 14 for that $12 bet. So, but then that's where it is. And some people would say, well, that's the point. Let's put it on the 6. But a lot of times the reason why they do that, they would want to move it to the 6 is because whenever people have a pass line bet, the bet on the pass line is the puck that's on. So you normally wouldn't see a bet here on the pass line and on here. However, on a cruise, you may. And let me explain why. Because on a cruise, they only do, if it's a $10 minimum and you have $10, they only do single odds. So you can only do single odds if you have $10. And I have other videos that explain how it works. But if you only were able to do $10 here and $10 here, but you want to bet more on the 8, you can do this, and that. And you can even pump that even higher if you want to do more money on the 8. That's a way to get around the single odds on a cruise. But keep in mind that this bet, you know, instead of doing this, if I was rolling, maybe I was like this, I probably still wouldn't play odds because I'm not getting comp value on the odds, remember? So I would put my money here. If I had a pass line and the point was 8, I would put money here before I would put money back here. That's just on a cruise what I'm talking about, because I want to get comp value, or I want to get credit for all of the money I'm putting on the table. And any money I put back here on odds, even if it's don't pass odds, the don't pass odds don't count for comps. If I did a come bet and the next roll would come, it's a 5. So now this moves to the 5, and just like the puck moved, the money moves this time. Now I'll win that bet with an 8 and this bet with a 5. Well, if I put odds on the 5, that's still a $10 bet, not a $20 bet. It's only, and same thing, if I did it back here and it went behind the 5 and I put odds, the odds are not counted as comp value. So anytime if I do a come bet, a don't come, a pass, or a don't pass, I just play it flat. I never play odds because, like I said, the odds don't count for comps. So I know that's a lot to say, but getting back to the main purpose of this video, maybe this video is more about odds and comp value, but basically, if all I have was $100, that's all. That means all I have is $15. If I have $150, I only have $15 per shooter. So let's say you wanted to do, your strategy was that you wanted to do, I want to do on a $10 table, I want to get all those numbers right off the bat. So if you wanted to get all the numbers right off the bat, we can calculate what that would be by just adding them up. So there's 10, 20, 30, 40, right? And then remember, this has to be 12 and 12. So there's 52, 64. All right. So if I had $64 that I wanted to be, and you might say, well, one of those is going to be the point. So if they roll and it's a 10, so this becomes a 10, the point becomes 10. Now that's the 10. I don't really want to play the point, or whatever the point is. I will just bet all the other numbers. Then you could do 54, but I think add another 10 for 64. But watch this. When it comes to your bankroll, remember, this is 64. If it was 54, how much are we going to need? Yeah, you guessed it. We're going to need over $500. We're going to need $540 for our bankroll because we want enough for 10 shooters. So just adding one more bet to 64 is adding a whole another $100 just because I want to add 10 more dollars to my bet. Now, this is the way that you want to think about it when you're thinking about your strategy. Now, let's say you're on a $15 table. All of a sudden, this is not 64 anymore. This is 96. So 96 is $960 if you're going to play this strategy on a $15 table. So it's very important to know what you want to bet first and what the minimum of the table is. Whatever the minimum is and whatever you bet, sometimes you might say, all I have is $500. It's a $10 table. Regardless, if it's $500 on a $10 table, then you might say, well, I got $50 per shooter, and I'm just going to do, I'm going to let my bankroll dictate my strategy. Or you can let your strategy dictate your bankroll. But I wouldn't let the table minimum dictate your bankroll. But there is a minimum. I mean, like I said, $15 table, $150. You wouldn't want to just try to bet $10 and have only one number on. I mean, that's the minimum. But man, that's not good chances there. That's not good odds. If you said, and so let's think about that. Let's say we're on a $10 table. We're going to take $100, right? And so if we're thinking $10 table, 10 shooters, and we only have $10 per shooter, that means we only can do one bet. Or even if you did a hard way, like a hard 10, hard 4, that's still only 2 combinations of the dice that you would be playing on each shooter or each hand. And so very, very interesting. So like I said, don't use the table minimum to dictate your bankroll. Perhaps maybe use your bankroll to dictate your strategy. Or I would say use your strategy to dictate your bankroll. That's the way I would do it. And so that's my suggestion to you, is to say, even if you say I'm going to do $20 per shooter, or like we said, $25 per shooter, that's going to be $250. Okay, so if we said we're going to do $250, then let's see, we need another 50. So there we go. We have $250 because we're going to do our strategy. So remember, strategy determines bankroll. Don't let the bankroll. Well, some people say no, my bankroll will determine my strategy. Well, the where you might get in trouble with that, for example, let's say you have, let's just say you have $600. Now, if you have $600, you know already right now you should be saying to yourself, I have $600, so I have $60 per shooter. Well, what happens is if we said $60 per shooter, and this is a $10 table, and then we put $30 each on the 6 and 8, that is kind of like yes, it's good, but see how the table minimum is 10. Now you might say, well, what kind of strategy can you use for that? Well, let's roll it and see what happens. So there's a 5. So the point becomes 5. Now we have enough for 10 shooters, and this is a $10 table, but we're way high. And so this would be kind of like, okay, there's a 10. This strategy would kind of be like a regression kind of strategy. If we can hit a 6 and 8, that would pay $35. This is a 9. Let's see if we can get a 6 or 8. Nope, there's a 7. All right, so a 7 came, we are down, right? So if you're truly letting your bankroll dictate your strategy, then look at your bankroll. You are down $60, right? So what do you have? You have, there's 500 and 25, 35, 40. $540. Now you shouldn't bet more than what's 540, right? 540. Now you only have, say, $50. $50 and maybe $4 for hard ways or something. So if you're truly allowing your bankroll to dictate your strategy, when you lose, you have to go back down. So I wouldn't say that I have another $60 for because I start off with 600, right? Because if you're allowing your bankroll to determine your strategy, because you lost, now your new bankroll is 540. So now you only really have $50 per shooter, and say you want to go with the 5 and 9. Okay, so here we go. So now we're going to go with the 5 and 9, and let's see what the number gets established as. It is a 9. So we're going to go ahead and leave it on a 9. The point becomes 9. And so let's see if we can hit a 5 or 9. And there's a 5. All right. So that pays 35. Okay. And remember, we just lost 60, right? So let's go ahead and rack that and see if we can get one more hit on the 5 or 9. And there's a 4. All right. And then if we can get a 5 or 9, there's a 6. If we can get a 5 or 9, then that would help us to have, there's an 8. That would help us to have our bankroll back, right? There's a 9. All right, so we got our 9. So now that's another $35. That's a winner, so the put goes off. So let's take these down just to look at our bankroll, right? And so we have extra $10. Now we have 610, not just 600, right? So then now our bankroll, if our bankroll is determining our strategy, we have more money to put out on this next shooter. And so you could do that, and as you win, you start betting more. And as you lose, you start betting less. You know, that's one way to think about it. But I don't do that. And I think most people that have their bankroll, they don't do that either. But in their strategy, they should be doing that if their bankroll's determining their strategy. If your bankroll's determining your strategy, then after each shooter, or after each point really, you should look and then determine how much you're going to bet. Like it's a percentage of your bankroll no matter where your bankroll is. I know I hope that we didn't lose anybody on that. But so now we have 610. Now you could say I'm going to just go back to 60, but I'm just going to take that extra 10 and throw it out there, you know, and then see where we get, you know, and I won't rule out another one, but the idea is I think it's better to say, you know what is let's go back to that 600. So $600, you have $600, and what strategy would work for 600? I mean, it would be close, but you know, we were talking about that 54 across or the 64 across. $600, it might be good to do a 64 across. You don't quite have 10, but maybe you shouldn't have 600. Maybe you should have 650, for example, because then you'd have the $10 you would need if you were going to shoot, right? 1 out of 10, for example. And so 650, then you're looking at 64 across, $650, you know. I think that's the way you want to think about what you want to do. And maybe you're just a 6 and 8 kind of shooter, and you have $600, then yeah, do 30 each. Because the other thing that you could have done, say we're here and we're just doing the 600. So we just have $600. We're going to do 30 each, and it doesn't matter if we win or lose. We're only doing $60 per hand or per per round, right? So if we're only doing 60, the way you can look at it is like this. Okay, so let's just roll this one real quick. Let's see what the point is. So the point is 9. All right. So the point becomes 9. Let's see if we can get a 6 or 8. All right. There's a 4. 3, 1, 4. And here is 2. Let's see if we can get a 6 or 8. Come on, that's a common number. Why not? There's a 10 shooting outside here. Let's get inside there. Inside. There's a 5. A little bit closer. 6 or 8 shooter. All right. Nope. 7. Okay. So now if our strategy, now this is out. So our strategy was 600 based on our strategy, not based on our bankroll. So now we wouldn't bet less money. We're going to stick with the $60. $60 per shooter. So let's see. New shooter comes out. We lost that first 60. New shooter comes out. And here's a 3. And let's see if we can get a point established. There's a 10. So the point is 10. And so now that the point is 10, let's see if we can get a 6 or 8. Okay, there's a 5. And so I'm going to show you the regression here. Dice off the table. I'm going to just grab another one here. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can get it. Of course, dice off the table and a 7 comes. How many times you see that? All right, so again, there's 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10 shots that we're shooting for, right? And so here we go. Back up again. We're just a 6-8 kind of shooter, right? Let me see if I can get that die. I don't even know where it went. Found it. All right, here we go. So let's see. Let's see if we can get a point established and then hit a 6 or an 8. Okay, there's a 5. So the point is 5, and we're going to do a 6 or 8. Okay, let's get it. 6 or 8. Come on, shooter. And there's a 7 out. Okay, now look at this. Look at this. Our bankroll is just dwindling, but we're consistent, right? 6 and 8 kind of better. 6 and 8 strategy. That's all we're doing. And you can see, you know, if we were doing bankroll determining, we wouldn't be betting at this much because we lost, what, 3 times in a row right now? All right, here we go. There is a 3. Let's get a point established here. Got to get a box number. Okay, there's a 9. Box number 9, and that's becoming the point. Let's get a 6 or 8. Come on, so we can show this how it works. All right, come on, Mr. Dice. There's a 10. And here is, oh my goodness, there it is again. So you're like, Brian, what are you trying to teach here? I'm discipline. This is what consistency, discipline. Stick with it. Most people would say, my 6 and 8 isn't working. I'm gonna switch. I would say whatever you're coming up with, try to be consistent with it, and then that will be determined whether it's gonna win or not, right? Because what happens is, and just in my experience, you switch this and you go to 5 or 9, and the 6 and 8 start hitting. It's crazy the way it works. All right, there's a 7, but the puck was off. These bets are off. We're looking for a come out, right? Come out number. And there's an 11, 7, 11. Some people say, you should be on a pass line. You would have made money there. No, we would have lost money the other times. All right, here's a 9. All right, here's a 9. Here we go. Let's see what we get here. 6 or 8. Let's get it. There's a 10. We need to go back down the level. Get an 8. Oh, my goodness. There's another 7. And, that means this loses. And so you might say, $600? This is how you spend $600? All right, here we go. We're back, right? And we're just staying consistent. Now, sooner or later, you're going to have to be the shooter. So we'll be the shooter this time, and we'll just roll it and see what happens here. All right. So there's a 5. All right. So the point is 5. Let's see if we get a 6 or 8 this time, shooter. All right. Here we go. And there is a 5. Okay. Again, we got the point, but we won $10. All right. $10. We're still the shooter. All right. So now we're playing this one for free at least, right? All right. Here we go. Coming out again. And it's a 5 back out on the 5. It's remarkable. We're marking it again. Here we go. And there is a 6. Finally, we got the 6. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the 6 pays $35. Now, what I was trying to show you the whole time, let's exchange this for some nickels or some red chips here. And that'll be $35, right? So this is what we're trying to show the whole time. So we had our $60 per shooter, right? And we can take this down now and say, okay, that shooter, now we're paid for that shooter. We're going to only use this, okay? So let's see. We got $10. We got an extra 5. Let's put it on the hard 10. Why not? All right, so this, technically, even though we lost money on all the other shooters, with this shooter, with us, this money, we won, and then we took down our money here. All right, so now we're hoping for a 4, 9, or 10. Let's see how many 6s and 8s roll. Anybody? All right, there's an 8. All right, here we go. Now we're shooting for 4s and 10s. There's an 8. Another 8. All right, let's see again. Can we get, oh, there's a 5. We got another point. All right, so that is $10 here, and we win. So now we have an extra 10. Let's put up the 5. We're still shooting, so we'll just leave it here. All right, here we go. Bets are off, and it's a hard 8. All right, so the point is 8. So now this bet here is connected to the 8, but we're looking for a 4, 5, 9, or 10. And if a 10 comes, let it be hard. That would be great, right? All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. And it's a 7 out. All right, 7 out. So all this is gone, right? But for this roll or this shooter, this round, this hand, there's our $60 we started with. So we technically didn't lose money with this shooter, right? So what you can do is, even though, so we had what, 4 shooters that we lost money with, 1 that we didn't. So you can still stick with it. Now, what I would do is I'd put this aside and say, for that shooter, I broke even, okay? And then I'd go back, and after 10 shooters, whatever I have on profit or breaking even, that's going to be my walk away money, okay? So if we were doing that again, okay, and I won't waste your time on all the 10 shooters, but 11, right? If we were going to do it again, let's see. There's the 10, the hard 10, of course, we were looking for last time. Let's see if we can get a 6 or 8. And there's a 10. Back out on the 10. Of course, this was a different shooter, so we didn't really make any money on that round or that hand, but technically they're still shooting a hand because it's the same shooter coming out again to make another point established, and it's an 8. We're going to stick and stay on the 8 and see if they can get a 6 or an 8, okay? And there's a 9. Let's see if we can get a 6 or 8. Come on. There's a 6. All right, again, we're going to pay with the nickels. So it pays 35. We're going to take this 60. We're going to put it aside. That's going to be our walk away money because now this shooter is paid for. The first 4 we lost. The last 2 we broke even, and maybe we'll even win some more. So let's see. We're going to do the same thing. Let's do a 9 this time, and let's do a hard 10 that way. Actually, let's do a hard 8 because the point is 8. Why not? All right, here we go. Let's see if we can get a 4 5. There's a 5. All right, so that pays 14. And so being that pays 14, we have enough for $12 on the 6. And with an extra $2, let's just put that over here into our win column. Okay, so we can kind of start bringing money back. All right, here we go. Let's see what we get here. There's a 5, another 5. So we have another $14. And being that's another 14, let's put 10 on 10. Let's rack another $4 into our rack for our walk away money. All right, here we go. And there is a 10, hard 10. Just in time on the 10, but remember we moved that hard 10. All right, that's okay. 10 pays 18. So let's do this. Let's give $2. We're going to give $2 for 20, right? And then we're going to just take this this 20 and put it in our rack for our walk away money, right? All right, now we if we walked away, okay, there's a 7. We out. All right, so 7 out, and all of this money is out. And so what we would do is we'd repeat this process for the next couple shooters. Look, 60, 60, and 60. We actually have 5, 60. So we're going to put the $5 over here. So we would probably continue that process. So we do it one more time. I won't do all of them, but I'll just show you. We can continue that process to see when do we walk away, you know, with our 10 shooters. And so there's a 5, so the point becomes 5. And so let's see if we can get a 6 or 8. There is a 12, midnight, box cars, and there's an 8. All right, so we have an 8, and that's our 35. So let's take our 60 right off the bat, lock it up for walk away money, right? And let's see what we could do. Let's do 4 and 10. What if we just did 9 and then we rack this one? Walk away money, right? Here we go. Let's see. So there's an 11. And let's see if we get like a 4. There's a 4, yeah. Okay, so there's 18, right? So $18 on a $10 4 pays like that. Let's go ahead and put 12 on the 8. And let's take 6 and put it in our walk away money, right? And here we go. There's a midnight. Again, another midnight. There's another 4. All right. So another 4 rolls. That's another $18. So let's go ahead. We'll put 12, right? And we will take 6 and put it into our walk away money. Okay. And here we go. And this 7. All right. 7 out. And so you can see that not only did we, with the first couple shooters, we lost a lot, right? But with the last couple shooters, we've been able to lock up some of our money. Now, by the end of these next 2, would we be able to lock up enough to walk away with 600, what we walked up with? Or will these ones just lose and this is what we're walking away with? That's how you can manage your bankroll while you're playing. And so I know we talked about different ways, and maybe I'll do different videos where I just talk about specific one way how to do it. But that's kind of like the way. I got 2 more shooters to go. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to do a special member-only video rolling the rest of this out. Well, hey, thanks for watching. And remember we talked about channel membership? Watch this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. But watch this because we have some viewers and doers when it comes to channel membership. Maybe one you might fit into. I'll see you later. Bye.